Alrighty, this is SlapperCast episode number 70.
70.
Yeah.
Look at that. Yeah.
Septuagenarian.
Look at that.
All right.
That's 70.
In the morning. Yeah.
Yeah. In people terms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are we talking about today, gentlemen?
What are we talking about? Let's talk about Chad's first lift experience.
Yeah.
I can drive you home if you want. I can give you a lift.
Oh, really?
Home.
Cool,
I won't even
thank you.
charge you for it.
What a nice guy.
Yeah, I'm so inexperienced with this. I thought got to make sure I got everything, and of course, the base of this thing that screws onto the table is now in his car, maybe permanently. But Eric found out that it cost $15 to get. And this thing, the mic stand is the same one. Patrick's using the same model. This thing's cost like $12. So I can't really justify.
And
that.
now you have parts.
Yeah.
Now you have spare parts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, but it was cool. It's very, very impressive technology that makes that possible.
Thank you.
I did have an experience one time with an Uber in New Orleans that ended up almost becoming a lawsuit in a weird way.
What did you do to him?
Exactly. What did he do to me?
Oh.
Which made me want to do something to him. So it was Jazz Fest. It was like 5:30 in the morning. The gig is over. I'm with Leslie. We're wrapping up, and we're like, okay, let's get home. Let's get an Uber and get back home. We call an Uber. He shows up, and he's like, where are you going? And we said, we're going across the river back to Algiers Point, which is on the map. It's like this far away, but when you drive, it's like that far away. Mm-hmm. And he refused. So here we are in the middle of the street at 5:30 in the morning in the dark. She's got, I don't know, $3,000 cash on her from settling up the show or whatever. And I was fucking pissed. Might have had a few drinks. So I guess I guess I was doubly pissed. But I was like, you showed up here and you're going to take us across the river. He's like, no, I'm not going to do it. I said, well, this is fucking bullshit. And I grabbed my stuff. And as he's leaving, I tapped the back of his car like that. Probably about that hard, too.
Love tap.
About that hard, like, ah. 2 weeks later, I get a phone call from Uber. Hey, did you dent somebody's car? No. He's like, he's claiming that you dented his car. I said, here's exactly what happened. I told the story about what happened. He's like, well, he's saying that you broke his car. I was like, no possible way. The guy's just looking to get some money out of somebody. And about a month later, I got an email that said, okay, we resolved the situation and you are in the clear. But I mean, seriously, just leaving us in the middle of the street.
The guy's gone now.
Yeah, well, I think what happened in New Orleans was, like we just talked about before the show, once Uber came in and the taxi cabs realized they were kind of going to be missing out because they're terrible business model, a lot of taxi drivers jumped to become Uber drivers.
Smart
They're
move.
just as surly, just as terrible, but now they're Uber drivers. We did finally get picked up by a guy with a nice Lincoln SUV. He was super nice. He was dressed like in a suit at 5:30 in the morning.
Well, who isn't?
Exactly. And he took us home and it was fine.
And he's now our best friend. I
don't remember his name, but he was a very nice gentleman.
John.
Let's say it was John.
John, the Uber driver.
He was very nice.
Well, that was a great podcast. Thank you all for coming.
Yeah.
It's a taxi edition.
70 up your arse.
So take your...
I learned when I was living in New York, when I would take cabs to LaGuardia, I always wanted to fly out of LaGuardia because it was closer to where I live. I live on the Upper East Side, so it was about a 20-minute cab ride to LaGuardia as opposed to Newark, which would be like an hour sometimes.
Sure.
Based on
If you're lucky.
Yeah, if the traffic was really bad, it wasn't worth the cab ride. Was going to be really expensive. So I learned quickly that you needed to ask before you got in the cab, can you take me to LaGuardia? Because some cabbies, they didn't want to go out of way. They don't want to go to the airport because it takes a big chunk of time out of their day. So I go, can you take me to LaGuardia? No. Like, if you got in, it's like okay, LaGuardia. Like, oh no, I can't do it. No, the cab will never make it. You know,
Yeah, we only do left turns here. Sorry.
So you ask before you get in the cab, you save yourself some time. But anyway,
Good to
pro
know.
tip.
Yeah. We the taxi drivers. That's insane. You know, living in Ireland or Boston or wherever the hell, where it was transport was always decent, so we just never had much call for taxis.
Yeah. Yeah.
And of course, now living in Houston, everybody drives, so you just. But I've only had great experiences with Uber and Lyft and.
Yeah, mine have all been positive except for that one time in New Orleans. But
and that band camp trip.
Yeah,
that's all right. But you got a friend. But you gained a friend,
John. Thank you, John. Whoever you are.
Yes.
Whatever your name is.
Call me John.
He never calls anymore. Of course, I haven't been in New Orleans in, I don't know, probably a year now. So, a year and a half, maybe. So, not sure what's going on over there.
There you go.
So, Patrick gave us a list of topics for us to consider.
Yeah, what's our viewer questions? I'm getting kind of verklempt.
We must be,
Somebody besides Greg must have a question out there.
Well, he did, but we rejected it.
What was his question?
What was it about favorite duo? No, favorite. What was it?
All notes. Moving on.
Sorry, Greg.
Favorite duos, pork and beans.
I think it was in Patreon. I'll see if I can pull it up.
Simon and Garfunkel, end of story.
But your first one, you said, Patrick, I thought was a good one. It's the bands that should have had bigger careers.
Well, every day I wake up and I say, thank you, Phil. And they say, Phil, who? And I say, shut up, chicks. Phil Lynott of Thin Lizzy. It blows my mind because I don't think there's a day that goes past where I don't have a little Thin Lizzy riff or a lyric or and lately it's been Dublin, but it's early Philo. These lyrics from this song Dublin, just running through my head, and I always wonder why people like. And I understand it. I was making fun of Twisted Sister lyrics on the other show, because I write these songs and I put these words down. I go, this is great, and then I reread it and I say, what the fuck? Where'd that come from? That's not what I wrote down. So the Twisted Sister is. I understand why they're popular. The same reason why AC/DC is popular. It's really great backbeat, and then a simple anthemic, regurgitated, looped line over and over again, and it gets in your head, and that's the hook, and that's the and it's powerful. It's heavy and it's aggressive, and it's Phil didn't do that. Phil wrote, straight from the heart, and a lot of the time it was it's just some of it very, very deep, and some of it kind of just very always poetic and very so whether you like them or not, I just thought all this stuff went into these songs, all this great.
Who doesn't like Thin Lizzy? I mean, seriously.
Well, a lot of people don't even know who they are.
Well, I don't know who those people are.
Yeah. I was one when I'd heard that. That's a name that I heard a million times, but I never knew. Like I knew the song "Boys Back in Town." I'd heard of the name Thin Lizzy. Didn't connect the two.
Yeah.
Thin Lizzy was just like another name, like 38 Special or.
Yeah.
To me, I didn't know anything about them. So here in the States, anyway, when I was growing up, "Boys Back in Town" is really the only Thin Lizzy song that I can remember ever hearing before I met him, and he turned me on to all their stuff. And I was like, what the hell did I not know this stuff before?
Well, so you as a drummer and as coming up as because you started on guitar and you wrote poetry and you did stuff like that, which I won't make fun of you on there.
It's okay.
No, no, I'm better now. No, seriously. I mean, but you did the art thing. And my neighbor's house just fell into the void. But you grew up just drums. And that was it. Always. So people like Brian Downey from Thin Lizzy you'd have to dig a hole and live in it to miss the Brian Downey.
Yeah, and unfortunately for me, I guess not unfortunately, but I mean, obviously knowing like Chad said, no, because in America, "Boys Are Back in Town" was the big hit cowboy song. If you dug a little bit deeper,
yeah, Jailbird.
yeah. And Jailbreak. Yeah, I think Jailbreak probably, those are the big three,
Yeah.
I think, that American radio, FM radio would have played, especially back in the. But the first record that I actually bought was, the first Thin Lizzy record I bought was actually
Live and Day.
Thunder and Lightning.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Because I was just coming of age of like buying my own records and really kind of into the hard rock metal thing. And
I'm so proud I've got a tear.
the guitar player that I was playing with, he was a very much of a, you know, shredder kind of, even for, you know, being a kid in a small town where we grew up. Peter was very, very talented, you know, and I think he learned just by rote. I think he just learned by listening and figuring it out. I mean, he could play Eruption when he was in 10th grade, which I thought was kind of, you know, that's kind of cool, you know?
Yeah.
But he came to rehearsal one time. He's like, "Oh my God, check out this new Thin Lizzy record." And I don't know if I actually knew the name, but we played that, you know, and that Cold Sweat song track off that record. I was just floored by the guitar playing. Actually, for the first time I was like, "Oh, there are other instruments besides drums I should pay attention to." And those two guitar solos that when the drums stop, you know, there's the first one. The second one is a that's a very common chord progression for, like, I think it's on a Metallica record too, on that song off of Masters, with the video, the guy in the bed, I cannot speak. I cannot sing.
Yeah, that's just the hammer-ons.
But I think stylistically and chord progression wise, I think it's almost the same solo. It's like they lifted it off the Thin Lizzy record.
Really?
I don't know.
Well, they're all huge Lizzy fans, so it's not.
Maybe just as an homage. Maybe.
Yeah.
But I mean, and that was my first, you know, real deep dive into.
Well, John Sykes, who played on that record, who that's his finger tapping, that's his solo.
Yeah.
He continued on. For people that don't know, he continued on the Thin Lizzy. He brought Thin Lizzy throughout. Brian Downey didn't tour the States with them. I saw them play, but they brought Tommy Aldridge on drums with them when I saw it. And it's just
he's all right.
to this day one of the greatest concerts. But John Sykes was to this day he'll credit Phil Lynott for his, as does Huey Lewis, which you know I love,
which we talked about.
They credit Phil Lynott for their, you know, for where they are and their careers. But John Sykes is a great singer too. I had no idea, because I heard him sing backup on a bunch of stuff, and it was kind of okay. That's not, but when he took the lead, and I saw Blue Murder in Florida a couple of times, and his John Sykes other band. So very, very just amazingly talented.
But Thin Lizzy was big in Ireland, or at least in the British Isles, and maybe even Europe. They were
all over Europe and Australia, huge.
That's the funny thing about America. As much of an influence as we think we have on things, we don't know shit about what goes on in other countries. Like, you think about bands that are either Irish or British or European, even bands that are, you know, South American, Central America, fucking huge down there. And if they're not on the radio here, we don't know. We don't give a shit. You know.
Well, I'm guilty of. I don't listen to the radio, and nor did I. You know.
Yeah.
Years ago. I mean, I always kind of find what I like and I listen to it over and over and over again. But what blows me away is these bands like Saxon and stuff, all the stuff that I listened to when I was a teenager, and are still doing the same thing today. The same thing. They dress the same. They kind of look the same, but they're doing the same stuff, but they're doing these festivals, hundreds of thousands of people in Europe, and then they come over here and they're playing a toilet in Houston, South Houston, and it kills me. I don't understand and fair play to these guys for coming over here and doing it. I know. There was a show a few years back that got cancelled, and Saxon was on the bill, and they ended up playing at Scout Bar down in Clear Lake, yeah. And so they went from what was going to be big, and Scout Bar is actually not. I have to tip my hat to Scout Bar, because they did. I took my son to see Deicide and a bunch of these bands, and they they did really well. I mean, the sound was good. I was far in the back.
I've never been there. I'm curious. I hadn't heard any reviews on it before. I just know they've had some big names.
Listings. They're always getting someone that's like, oh, really? That's cool. You know, like
they do the work, and we actually Joshua Vickery, one of the guys that books down there, he's called us a couple of times for shows, and we're not good for that. I play that stage anytime. It's just not a. It's more of a. If you live in any decent sized town, you'll know that there's always that bar that does the if you're a local band, you're only playing there to support the headliner, or so it's not beneficial to us because we play so much in the area that we can't sell a bunch of tickets to go and see, because we're playing down the street next month for a no cover place or a
right.
Yeah.
So it's more of a touring act, and they can't guarantee would love to, like I said, love to go and play, but we can't go out and not if you're not selling tickets, you're not selling so it's kind of not worth their time. It's not worth our time, and but a great stage and nice people down there. Like there's a bunch of these places that we've talked to in Houston that I've called, and I wouldn't let a stray dog loose in the place. Just no respect for bands or touring bands or anything. So, but Scout Bar's not that. Scout Bar is they've got their niche, and they've stuck to it, and hopefully after all this crap is gone, they're going to be still able to do what they do.
Yeah. So do you think? So when Phil Lynott died, Thin Lizzy had kind of broken up.
Yeah.
At that point, right? But not for that long, right? It was like
it was a couple of years, I believe. And
I kind of wonder, like, had he not died, if he had managed to clean himself up, and they probably would have gotten back together at some point, don't you think?
Oh yeah. I mean, he was always going to do something. I saw his band right after Thin Lizzy broke up, a band called Grand Slam, and I saw them at in Dublin, and it was okay. It wasn't, you can't go from Thin Lizzy to. You just can't. No matter who the players are. I always like when David Lee Roth left Van Halen. Yeah, and he did his band. His band was top notch, all great players. But they're still, we're used to having that band. We're used to having that. All those pieces. So no matter who you put in it's still as good as they are playing together, and as much fun as they look like they're having, it's still not. But Grand Slam wasn't that. Grand Slam was kind of thrown together, and it was very, very loose and very. But people were there to support Phil. I was there to support. I didn't care what they did, and the music wasn't tremendous, but it was Phil. You get to see
any notable people playing with him.
Not that I can remember. The only thing I remember about just staring at Phil, and I may have said this before, but in Ireland, the wonderful thing, one of the many wonderful things is, there's somebody famous walking down the street, they don't rush him and get autographs, and you might get the how are you, and so there was always so we'd be drinking in Bruxelles, which was the only heavy rock metal pub, and we'd be drinking in there, and there'd be whisper throughout the Phil is on Grafton Street, Phil is up the road, he's a and you want to run out there and just see him, because legend. I mean, absolute, just hands down, and I could care less for U2 and Van Morrison, all the Phil had and again, I never met him, but you were on the street as he left, and somebody would say, "Yeah, Phil was just there." You want to run and meet him, but it was, and again, it was another one of those things where you just want to, I'll wait. We'll go see him at the RDS. We'll go see him at the big, and then of course he never gets. But
do you know why he disbanded Thin Lizzy at the time?
Well, they were just flailing. There was no, they never recaptured the Boys Are Back in Town vibe. They never, that was their thing. They were always out to conquer America. And if you see the behind the music stuff, they just said we were cursed. They said every time that the tour would come around and they got to, something would happen. And so yeah, it just became one of those things. And Phil was not going to have one of those bands that tours on the Boys Are Back in Town. He was going to keep plodding forward and creating, but never just didn't come to pass. And I think his health then was
he was not doing so well.
Yeah. So
that wound up on a depressing
bring me down
note. Yeah.
And Rory Gallagher is saying, Rory Gallagher, I mean, just well, I realize now, I was talking about bands that should have been bigger or people. I thought Rory Gallagher was our secret. And later on, you come to find out that Brian May from Queen was a massive Roy Gallagher fan. That he used to go see him play in Taste and early Roy Gallagher and ask him how you doing that? Brian May. And then people like Dave Murray and Adrian Smith from Iron Maiden, massive Roy Gallagher fans. And then later on, when I started really like digging into the music and checking out guitar solos and stuff, I know exactly where you lifted that from. But it was funny. I thought that Roy Gallagher was our little secret. No, not. And then go to Europe, and it's even bigger. Mm-hmm. It's just So when we were playing, I remember we were playing at Weston. We were doing something in Weston. I think it was last year at the festival, and somebody had told me this and this song by Rory Gallagher. You guys have to. I was like, oh yeah, And then when we were over at your place, mm-hmm. He said Rory Gallagher. So it's a it wasn't close to. I thought there was a nice little gather, one of those cult following. No, massive.
Well, yeah. And yours from, Europe anyway, so he would have a better idea than.
Yeah, but to hear it over here, it was always strange to me. I was like, how do you know? So, everybody knows.
It reminds me, when we were on tour, I think, maybe it was last year or the year before, we were listening, I think, to the Boneyard, the Aussies, Sirius radio channel, whatever it is. And there was, I can't remember what it was. It was some other song that had a similar riff to
Moonchild.
Yeah, but it was some other. It was that riff that riff in A. From 2 Minutes to Midnight. Yes. Is the one that most people know. And there were some other songs. Man, that sounds like 2 Minutes to Midnight. So I wonder which one came first. I'm trying to remember what it was. It was some other metal band from around the same period. So I was on my phone trying to figure out which song came out first, and they were really close. But then I found another one saying that there was this long history with that riff that stretched all the way back. Somebody had done the research and traced all the way back to Rory. So I pulled up that song and we listened to it right there in the van. And we're like, holy crap. It's just unmistakable. And he was the first one to come up with it, as far as anybody can say.
Saxon had the same one too.
Maybe it was Saxon. It might have been. It probably was Saxon we're listening to. I don't think about it.
Yeah. And huge Roy Gallagher fans. I was laughing at a old Saxon video that I watched. It was way back when, and they hadn't become the Marshall Stack band that they are now, and it was just very, very kind of dry tone, very, very, very thin guitars, and very, just not. I was like, ooh, fast forward. That was not good. Yeah, this is you definitely need good guitar tone to play this, his heavy stuff. So other bands that it looks like we could definitely spend an eternity on Lizzie and but what's the and any other bands that should have been bigger?
Rolling Stones.
Who are they?
Well, you think one thing. This might be the comment about that, but you think about bands that have like made careers off hits from 50 years ago. I mean, or 40 years ago, maybe even like, when was the last time the Rolling Stones, was it the Tattoo You record from 81 where they had, Start Me Up was probably their last hit, maybe?
Yeah.
I mean, first thing
real
about
hit.
him.
Well, when did that
I
one
know
come
that
out?
song, but I don't know I didn't even know
What year was that came out?
81.
Okay, yeah. Because I was thinking before that, I was thinking of "Miss You" off of some girls.
Some girls, yeah, but
That was a hit.
I think Tattoo.
That was Pro's first. That
They
was
had a
before
couple of songs on the radio in the late '80s and stuff like that. Like, but I don't think anything. I don't. Yeah,
No, they turned into a greatest hits, best of band after that. Like most bands from that era did at that point.
Yeah, I mean, you look at them and got it. Fucking Aerosmith and Def Leppard and Journey and any of those bands that tour now in the summer. Well, they're not touring this summer, but remember those big package tours? It's just like, playing the hits.
Yeah.
And all of the misses.
Yeah. Don't call them big package tours. Just
stuffed package tours.
yeah. Very nice. Very nice. Nice save, young fella. But yeah, the
Derek Smalls wrote this.
yeah. Those shows, I remember you really have to have a strong stomach to read those Styx and Journey and all those bands together. You're just like, what are they starting a fire? That's awful.
Yeah.
But another kick I got on the other day was I started listening to old Joe Jackson as well, and I thought that he should have been bigger than he was. I think whether you like the stuff or not, I didn't think he was. I didn't think he was great back in the day, but listening to that stuff and the lyrics were great and the always a really good.
Well, you just said it. You just said the exact reason why he wasn't bigger in America. Because the lyrics are great, and we like our shit. I'm not saying we. I'm saying as Americans, we like our shit dumb. And it's hard for us to get behind anything that's smart and or sensitive even.
I think it's amazing that because he had a couple of hits here back in the mid '80s, but it was Breaking Us in Two, and what was the other one from that one? I think it was the same. Well, maybe not the same one, but the same period, where his stuff was on heavy rotation on MTV. But what's funny about his videos is that he was always like the narrator. There was like some story that was being told in the video, and he was like kind of an observer of it. He wasn't really part of the story in the videos. And this is the only funny joke I can remember Gallagher ever saying. Remember the comedian Gallagher used to smash?
And his twin brother? He went on tour as Gallagher as well?
No? Really?
I'll tell you about that in a minute.
Oh, okay. I'm never a fan of this guy, but he had one joke. He had a bunch of... He would do this, watermelon smashing crap, but he would have
which was the funniest thing he ever did,
right? And then he would do one-liners, which that was really his whole routine. But one of them was, "Does Joe Jackson have to be in all of his videos?" which is funny because it was just a remark on the guy was not the most charismatic looking MTV kind of face. He was just a dude.
Yeah.
But I think one of the reasons why he didn't really blow up from there is it wasn't necessarily because he wasn't getting airplay. I mean, he wasn't, but he went off in a very prog kind of experimental direction after that. From what I recall, I'm saying he's done a lot of really interesting things.
I never saw any of that stuff. I think he just the band that he was playing with in 2013. Again, I don't know the names. I apologize, but monster players and he, his stuff wasn't bubblegum. It was
there's some weight to it.
He's a great songwriter.
Yeah.
Those early records, because that was another thing that you turned me on to, because I'd never really heard any of that early stuff either.
Yeah,
I'd heard those songs. Is She Really Going Out With Him, which we've covered a few times.
Shut up, Chad.
That whole record is fantastic.
Yeah.
And the one that came right after that is also fantastic. Got the
a live record of his from New York from 1990 something. It's just a trio. Him and Graham Mabey on bass and
Graham Mabey.
Yeah, he's that guy. What the hell?
God.
I'll forgive him for playing a 6-string or a 5-string because he's an awesome bass player.
He's and
the drummer he had was some old guy who I can't remember what his name was, but the drummer was piano trio. Fuck that.
Yeah.
Whack.
Yeah.
It's beating the crap out of those drums. Yeah. I'll have to dig it up and find it. But it's a great live recording. Just them
But
playing. And
you could do a whole lot worse than get some good than some Joe Jackson live records. Because I just
you're right. It's like why wasn't he bigger? He had what 3 hits in America. He had She Really Going Out with Him. That's one Breaking Us in Two.
There's another one from that period that was big on MTV.
Was it Slow Song? Was that big?
My favorite song of his is Be My Number 2. Ugh.
Sunday Papers?
Talk about a fucking deep song.
Yeah.
I mean, that song is like, you know that song? You familiar with that one?
No.
Yeah. Goggle it when you get home. It's fucking deep.
I'm trying to remember what the name of it was. I think it was on his second album.
Look Sharp? You got
Look Sharp's the first one. I think Look Sharp was his first one, I think.
We used to play I'm the Man in one of my old punk rock bands.
There's this great, the song with the piano break.
I'm the man.
Maybe it is I'm the Man, but I don't think it's that song. But it's the dun dun dun. It's this break in the middle of the song.
Oh, what
and
you
there's
want?
a drum break. Boom. Dun, dun. I can't remember what it is, but the drummer on that record
Sounds like fun.
Whoever his drummer was back then was absolutely stunning.
Actually, if you go on to YouTube and you Google Joe Jackson live, there's a concert I think that MTV showed, but he was playing at some university in Northern England, and it's like the early days, and he's out there wearing a tie and high-waisted pants, and just tears it up.
Yeah.
Really good stuff.
80, I think it was 80, 81.
Yeah,
I saw that one too.
yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
I have a lot of respect for that guy too, because Joe started off as a pub musician.
Yeah.
He played in bars. He's got his autobiography is really interesting to read about all of his experiences playing in bars.
Yeah, but again, when you play in bars, and you develop that thick skin, you learn, versus the the people that have that big hit and then they get put on the tour with the Stones and Kiss and they go off and they really never learn that. Mm-hmm. And another band that I know they were huge and they were just, I never took any notice of them until Michael Hutchinson died, but NXS, I saw some concerts too where Michael Hutchinson or Hutchinson, whatever his name is.
Hutchins.
Hutchins. Mm-hmm. When he would, his banter was pretty good.
Yeah.
And I don't heckle him because they grew up in the bar scene in Australia, and they talk about that. I saw that in interviews too. They fought their way out of clubs, in and out. I mean, so that was so the bar, paying your dues in the bar is worth every second of it because it really gives you that.
Yeah, all the best bands started off like that. I think even Iron Maiden played in bars.
Yeah.
Well, you're not only like you say, getting your thick skin, but you're really honing your craft.
Yeah.
You find out what works, what doesn't, what appeals to audiences, what doesn't.
Well, what I love about playing in clubs is maybe not at the moment, when you find out that there's a band before you and they're gonna take all day to break their stuff down and get off the stage. But what I love about it is, now looking back, is the configurations of how you're gonna set up, because these bars, I laugh about it often, had no desire or forethought about live music. So to go, just move that ashtray and that dead person over there and you set, that's where the band's going to set it. What, 6-piece, 7, 8-piece band? Yeah, go on, you figure it out. So you've got to do that, but then you have to get the best sound that you can. And it floored me with some of the past shows that we've done. I think they were about 50 years ago now. But the setup that we have now is our footprint's so small, and the sound can be dialed in a second, and we can be up and playing. And it's just it's from where we came from. The gear that we used to haul, the first PA that I really built with that, it was all stolen. But that, you know, big monitors and big speakers and speaker stands and everything that you can to get, because you want to deliver the best sound that you possibly can. Mm-hmm. You know, and you also want to, you know, it has to look good too. You know, I've seen, you know, those videos of this beautiful banquet halls, and they got this wedding band. The wedding band's got these old crappy speakers on sticks and stuff. And everything looks great except the gear. So we always wanted to have good looking matching gear and all that stuff. But now with the stuff that we're using, we assemble it quickly, we sound check it quickly, we play it, and it's easy to it's just a, you know, that's what bars do to you. You learn how to make, you know, how to set your stuff up, and also you know, have a nice neat stage, you know, your cables run properly and stuff like that.
Speed up your workflow. It's important.
Yeah.
I remember the early days here. You before I, you know, one of my jobs in the band usually is to set up at least a wire, the PA. But in the early days, that you would kick us all off stage and you would do it yourself. You wouldn't want anybody else running cables or anything for a while. It took you a while to let go of that.
Yeah. Well, it's
which I understand now totally.
Yeah. Well, okay. So every mic cable, every guitar cable, every, you know, it starts at $100. It starts at, you know, 80. You know, then the 100 and something for the stand.
Cheap, yeah.
It's just, and it adds up too. I remember when the PA was stolen, it wasn't the big speakers and the Sterwin Vega speakers and the Yamaha monitors and all. It wasn't that stuff that pissed me off. It was the mic stands, and the cables and all the tools, all the stuff that you build up that you need for just about every show. And when that gets ripped off, and I was just talking about this the other day, a friend of mine, it's the time and it takes you to build this arsenal of gear that you take with you everywhere you go. And when they rip off my gig bag with your mics in it and your, you know, it's just, you know, because the mics, you know, again, 100 and a half or what, everything, and you don't know, you just stand there. It's just, I remember, I'll never forget it, just walking out of the restaurant and seeing the door.
Yeah. Out of minds. Yeah.
Oh man,
that was not a fun night.
Yeah, I've had some drums stolen from the back of my truck, and just like one. But yeah, anytime somebody steals shit, it's just it's the most aggravating, and you just want to burn the world down. It's like, son of a bitch. You know. And you know, seeing the stuff on social media saying, "Oh, please share, this trailer's been stolen." It's just, hate that.
It was remarkable about that incident, having happened to me twice now, having my car broken into. That time, the cops actually came. When we called the cops, somebody actually came and talked to us in person. I don't think they do that anymore. I waited around, the last time this happened to me, I waited around for like 2 hours, and I eventually just gave up and called him and said, forget it. I'll file the report on the phone. Anyway, not that it really mattered, but it was just kind of nice that the guy, I think we did have to wait a long time before he showed up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was, you know,
anyway, I don't know.
Anyway. What's the other one?
Joe Jackson.
Is he still playing?
He's still around, yeah.
He's old. He gotta be old though.
Nah.
Older. old than you.
Yeah, he's probably in his 70s. Gotta be 70s now.
Exactly. Yeah, but it's also, you know, you think about, you know, certain times, like especially the 80s with MTV, which you mentioned a second ago. I mean, there was so much. It's more now, but then it was like any band that had a video was going to get shown on MTV, and then you wonder about what happened to, you know, any of those bands, you know, especially ones that had some kind of hits, you know, like Nick Kershaw.
Wouldn't it be good to be in your shoes?
Thank you.
Whoa.
Yeah. What about that guy? Whatever happened to him?
Well, hopefully
He's still working at the Five and Dime.
It's so surprising how many of these people are still actually playing and never stop playing. You just never heard about them because they literally were one.
Yeah, I remember. I can't remember who it was, but I remember like seeing something, and I wonder what these guys are up to. Still playing, still doing. Oh, my sister sent me she likes the Alarm of all things. That's very much an 80s, 80s thing. I thought the only hit they had was
21 Guns,
68 Guns or 68 Guns.
50, yeah.
21 Guns is Green Day.
Oh,
yeah.
There you go.
I don't know. Anyway, she's like, "Oh, it's the perfect day for this song." That's what she sends me. She sends me the link to the song. It's something about rain or something like that. Some song. And we're like, "Oh, I wonder what the Alarm are up to." And it turns out they released a shit ton of records. They went through some personnel changes, but they're still doing it. It's just like, who'd have thought that?
The band that also reminds me of that was, and I know he's dead, but Big Country. I thought. I thought they should have been bigger.
Yeah.
Because they had that. And the stuff wasn't fluff either. They had some decent, deep cut material. But the stuff that was played kind of reminded me of Simple Minds a lot. Very anthemic and very easy to hum along, but and catchy. Good hooks. But Simple Minds was another one that I know they were huge in Europe. I don't know what they were like over here, but they had a decent band. Real good players. And
Neil Gaynor on drums. He was awesome.
Yeah.
He is still awesome. He's still playing.
I think I've tried listening to them, and I was just bored.
I wasn't a fan.
Well,
I'm just
not,
talking of
I'm talking about
Simple Minds.
Yeah. It's good, but it's not the most like. On the drive home, I'm going to play some Simple Minds. No, it never crosses my mind.
Right? Yeah.
I never think of we should play that.
I mean,
Simply Red.
No, not again.
Don't.
Simply.
Oh my God!
By the way, you had a theory on that I had to check on it because I wasn't sure about the timing. Your theory was that was related to Simple Minds' success was related to the Commitments.
Simply Red.
Simply Red, right? Yes, sorry, I just Simple Minds. Simple whatever. But Simple Red actually came out way before because Commitments wasn't until like the late 80s or something. But yeah, Simple Red was like Simply Red.
they were holding back the years, I guess.
They were big. That was like 83, 84 or something. Anyway.
Well, the thing about bands like that, and actually we were in the pool the other day and listening to like an 80s mix, and like the Motels played.
Oh yeah.
And like that just reminds me of all the boring shit that the 80s cranked out. Like, let's just crank out a bunch of stuff, and some of it's fun, some of it's popular, and some of it's like complete shit. Just boring music. And Simply Red reminds me of that era of just like
totally
simple, and maybe simple Minds too. Although they did have
yeah.
Well, I guess they have a couple songs, but it's still just kind of like
that's where that was. Don't you forget about me. That was pretty much the only hit they had here anyway, right?
They had another one, Sanctify Yourself.
Yes.
Which was a little bit more exciting. A little bit more rocking to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, still just kind of like. But I mean, people's tastes are fickle and they change, and like Joe Jackson's first couple hits were super exciting, and then maybe people got bored with it. I don't know, but.
Well, I do notice a lot of these European acts that when they came back from their first and second, again, I wasn't watching the progression of Joe Jackson's career, but when they came back from the States, they switch up a little bit, and he left as kind of this new wave guy.
You've got a new Jackson on your porch.
I've got a case.
A case? Oh, okay.
Didn't come with a case.
I see.
So. So it seems to me like all these European bands, the aforementioned Thin Lizzy, of course, but when you do when you come back from the States and you see what they react to, you come back and you're all right. This is what we're.
Yeah.
So a lot of these bands come back and they did. It seems like that with Joe Jackson. His stuff got a little bit more airy fairy, kind of just you know took a little bit of the backbone away.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to look at Joe's stuff again too, because I know he was doing some really in the '90s too. He was doing some really interesting things, but it wasn't really anything I ever felt compelled to look into.
Yeah,
kind of like Elvis Costello. We talked about Elvis Costello briefly. Like,
I'm going to say him. He and
he's one of those guys. He's so brilliant. And he's so deep. His material, the songs.
He's
are
a
just
wordy bitch. He just
very wordy.
He's got a lot to
chord
say.
progressions are crazy, complicated.
But not in a Dylan kind of way. When Dylan just kind of rambles.
No.
It's very much he's telling you something, and that seems like it's important to him at the time.
But I can't. And there's a few songs.
All respect. All respect.
I love Elvis Costello.
There's a few of the songs I think are just awesome. I used to cover Veronica off of.
You did a really good job of that.
Thank you.
That was a.
But then that's probably my favorite album of his. That's that one, Spike. But listening to most of his records, I just I hate to say it, I get bored. I don't know why. It doesn't really. It's just never really hit me.
Well, but Elvis Costello in that same would always kind of come up with the same. And believe it or not, to me, Tom Waits always kind of jumped into that little thing. Tom Waits, if you want to feel bad about your lyric writing, listen to some Tom Waits. Just brilliant, man. And then he's gonna play on your level for a little while, and then he's gonna leave you. He's gonna go way far away, and and then he'll come back down. He'll come visit for a minute, then he'll take off again, and it's just humor and picturesque and deep and just. But again, I can't listen to much. I can't.
He's got. The thing I noticed about him is like he has a couple different periods. Like he has the early stuff, which is more kind of the, Scotch and cigarette kind of crooner-ish, sort of. And then he's got the middle stuff, like around Swordfish Trombones, where it starts to go out in left field a little bit.
Yeah,
the voice starts to change.
Yeah,
and then some of his later stuff, he comes back to the crooner, but he's got that voice.
Yes,
that really gravelly kind of voice. So. Like that stuff off of Bone Machine and which is a video on MTV that MTV would show and that stuff.
That surprises me.
Yeah. No, he's got a video. Let's show it. Kind of a thing. Always one person that I've always wanted to see in concert but never had the chance to was him to see Tom Waits play something live. Yeah.
Me too.
Is he not touring anymore?
What's that?
Is he not touring anymore?
No.
Really?
He does a random show here and there,
and he's
but
doing a lot of acting, and
it's an event. It's
but again, if you want to see the best of Tom Waits, I think if you just look up some of those, it seemed like he always brought his A game to the Letterman show.
Yeah,
every time he played Letterman, it was one of those. And my daughter played me some of his stuff that I hadn't heard before. She'll listen to Tom Waits. I go, where'd you hear? Why don't I know this?
Yeah.
But again, I don't.
Some of this stuff is just so gorgeous.
Yeah.
Like just the way the songs are constructed and the lyrics, you can very much a lot of his stuff is very much a visual. Like he's painting you a picture in your mind. And it's just like, I would have never ever thought of that in 1,000 years.
Yeah.
What would you say would be a good album to, which one should I listen to?
What's the one about the diner? That's like his really accessible one. Is it Nighthawks at the Diner? Is very jazzy, but like kind of like, Tin Pan Alley, Greatest American Songbook kind of stuff. But then if you want to, so I would get that one and Swordfish Trombones.
Okay.
And just listen to the Diner one first and then listen to because Swordfish has got Jonesburg, Illinois on it, which I think is his most beautiful song. It's maybe 2 minutes long, but it's one of the most beautiful songs you'll ever hear. But it's also got some of the weird, quirky, what is that random sound kind of thing.
Yeah.
The joke is, Tom told this joke on Letterman. I think he's like, so I went to I went to the music store and I played the guitar for a little bit and nobody said anything. And I went over and played the piano for a little bit and nobody said anything. And played a little bit of drums. Nobody said anything. I go to the junkyard. They're all like, "Hey, Tom." A lot of his records, he would just grab random stuff and just like make noises on, like bang on a trash can.
Yeah.
And, have the sound of a chair squeaking in the background. Just random shit like that.
Yeah. So I do love that aspect of it from the stuff I have heard. There was one, I did actually buy one of his records. It was in the 90s. The one that says I'm big in Japan.
Yeah.
I can't remember what record that was.
I don't know.
I did buy that one for some reason, but I don't remember the last time I listened to it.
Well, that's the thing about Tom Waits is you got to I think you got to ease into it. I mean, I don't think you can just jump in with any of his weird shit. I think you kind of understand the legacy of what he was doing.
Yeah.
Kind of like that guy that wore like the gimme cap and tweed jacket and smoking a cigarette and playing piano and telling you funny stories about whatever. And then the weird guy from the junkyard that's, doing all this random shit and singing about dogs fighting or something stupid like that.
Yeah. And appearing in Jim Jarmusch films.
Yeah.
Right.
and his acting career has been interesting to look at as well.
He was one of those guys that I always knew who he was because my friends were into him. And I would frequently, when I'd have a friend make me a mixtape or something, Tom Waits would be on there.
Yeah, my last year that I taught college up in New Hampshire, my percussion ensemble did 2 songs off of Swordfish trombones. I transcribed that because he used a lot of marimba and stuff like that, a lot of percussion-y stuff. So I was like, this would be great for a percussion ensemble. Mm-hmm. So we did Underground and I'll tell you in 1 second here. Shore Leave off of the So it's The Heart of Saturday Night is the one that you want to start with, and then Swordfish Trombones is the next one you want to get.
Okay, cool.
Because they'll give you a nice mix of what he's up to.
I will do that.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah.
And I'm gonna go check on Joe Jackson again and see what's going on with him.
Yeah. I'll call him up. When we're
Yo, Joe.
JJ. So, and he wasn't the most famous Joe Jackson either. That's weird.
Oh yeah.
That one. What's he doing lately? So so that was the and other bands too, like UFO and I could see them.
Halloween,
Budgie, that kind of stuff.
Celtic Frost.
Yeah, Celtic Frost. Oh my God, yeah, all that stuff. Yeah, these bands were ginormous in Europe and nothing over here. And I remember seeing a Celtic Frost at one of it might have been the Deicide show down in at Scout Bar, and seeing a T-shirt and going, I just wanted to go.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, where'd you get that?
Spencer Gifts, huh?
Yeah.
Come on, Jack, keep up.
What's Spencer Gifts?
Oh my God. It's a store.
Every mall
has one
in the store.
Oh,
like back in my day, back in the 80s, they were mostly selling like band T-shirts and like a lot of band merchandise, like
from the 80s.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I guess I didn't go to the mall very often.
Well, that's fine. You're not missing anything.
I remember the Gap.
And then they sell like funny T-shirts, like that say funny slogans on them, or
I've fallen and I can't reach my beer.
Yeah, or
that was the best.
1 tequila, 2 tequila, 3 tequila floor. Shit like that. And now it's kind of like, well, I'm not gonna say it's a Hot Topic. You don't know what a Hot Topic is either.
I remember Hot Topic. Yeah.
Okay, so it was like that, but they also sold like plastic, like weird cups and like all kinds of board games and all kinds of weird shit.
And then beside that was Hot Carl, which they didn't really sell much. It's more of a service.
That's where the name comes from.
It's more,
exactly.
And then
anyway,
yeah.
Well, I don't think they sold any Celtic Frost T-shirts at the Spencer Gifts.
No, but that was people get bothered by it. I don't get bothered by it, but when you walk in the mall and you see the it wouldn't be a Celtic Frost. It'd be a 8-year-old in a Ramones T-shirt, and got no idea what or that's the Iron Maiden Killers T-shirt on somebody that's just never that's never come across an Iron Maiden record. It doesn't bother me. I just like seeing it wherever.
You know what bothers though?
What?
Gary Holt.
Oh yes,
from Slayer.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
because what's her name wore a Slayer T-shirt and claimed that they helped sell more Slayer T-shirts or something like that. And then what's it? Was it Kim Kardashian was wearing a Slayer because it was like the thing like it's like you see African American kids wearing like Thrasher shirts or Iron Maiden shirts. I actually had a student when I was taught at Hightower. He showed up in an Iron Maiden shirt. I'm just like, have you ever
Listen to them.
heard Iron Maiden before? No, I was like, I just like the shirt.
Yeah.
So that's just like you're saying. It's like people just like you listen to the music. No, I just like the way the shirt looks.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Well, I got Bad Religion shirt on. I actually like Bad Religion, but
That's kind of a sad thing that happened with CBGBs after they shut down.
well, like I said, it became a clothing store for John Barbados. So
Yeah.
Well, somebody bought the rights to the name, and
it could have been us.
Yeah.
somebody. I understand Hilly Crystal, I'm sure was needing the money at the time, but he sold the rights, and they opened another. Actually, I don't think it was a venue, but it was just bullshit. They're just taking that logo, that wonderful logo from the original place, and marketing it in a way that had nothing to do with what the original club was. So you could find CBGB T-shirts at
Sears,
at Urban. What's that name of that?
Urban Outfitters.
Urban Outfitters, exactly. So that's what it's become now. It's just a brand attached to.
Yeah, I mean it's
history.
like Ramones.
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm not gonna say Iron Maiden, but maybe. I see you see more Ramones shirts than a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, and the fact that Iron Maiden still sells out arenas, and we're in 2020 right now, and this has happened since the early 80s. It just blows my mind. So when you do see when you do see the shirt on a person that you wouldn't, you may not want to bet against them being a fan because
You never know.
You just might not know, and the music is so accessible these days. Well, speaking of accessible too, we got our friend Tim from Sessions calling us.
Tim
Tim
Westergren.
Yeah, so we're gonna talk to one of the founders of Pandora. We're gonna talk to him this coming week. Or is it next week?
Next week.
So today is Tuesday. Oh, he just did it again. But very, very looks like a great service called Sessions, and they're doing online stuff. And
oh, did I send you that?
Yeah, you.
I'm like, what are we talking about?
Leslie
I sent it to
apparently
you.
got one of those emails first because they were sending out a form email to a lot of people, and you sent it to me. And I'm like, I didn't know who Tim was at first. Like, I remember because my reply to it was like, "What's the catch?"
What's the catch?
Because I want you to schedule phone calls. Like, this sounds kind of fishy.
That's why I was like,
So
that's why I'm passing it off to you so you can figure out what the catch is.
Yeah.
And then I forgot about it, right? But then we got one sent directly to Blaggards after that. And I said, well, this is cool. And then I forwarded it to Patrick. I said, this looks, because I read it again. I think maybe the second time I read it, it started sinking in. I was like, this looks, that's when I figured out who Tim was.
That's nice.
This
So
looks
what kind of
cool.
influence I have in this band. Sheesh.
Yeah. Well, then I forgot about it again. And then Tim emailed us again directly in a different, because both of those times it was the same form email. This time it was a personal one written. Say, hey,
linking to our
yeah, and he
YouTube
linked to our
account.
YouTube channel so you
said,
could see that it wasn't
like the stuff. And
hey guys, seriously, you may have thought another email was a joke. It's not. We really want to work with you. So,
All right, well, let's see what happens.
And I was talking to my brother in California and mentioned the name, and we were talking about the Pandora and this, and he's all internet, all video, all that's his gig.
Yeah.
And he said this is a great. So it was just another. We are putting distances between our live streams because it's it's just saturated.
Yeah.
The social channels are just saturated with all this content. So we're just pulling back a little bit rather than just keep trudging.
Yeah.
So, but it was that's a different, because the whole time I'm thinking of new ways to reach people because everybody's still for more or less shut down. Even, although Houston's supposed to go to 50% next week.
What?
Supposed to go to 50%.
Holy shit! I didn't hear that.
Yeah. It's
based on. I'm glad the bars are going to be able to do more business, but based on what success? Anyway, sorry.
I know. I mean,
cases are going up again. But anyway,
yeah. So, but in this market to reach people, and it's going to take somebody with some snap and some foresight to be able to steer this. You know, because you can do the same thing. You can do what we've been doing, is going to, you know, over to see Keith or going to different venues and, you know, doing a lot of live stream, which is very fun. But it needs to be. Yeah. It needs to be more focused. It needs to be. Yeah. I think it needs to be brought to. So this might be our our guy. So
it's a really interesting plan. This is still in beta, so I think it's invite only. You can apply, but you're not guaranteed to be approved. Yeah. But it's. I went and looked. I went and checked out the system, and at least all the people who are online when I checked it out, all of them were solo acoustic people, either playing guitar or piano or something. But one of the interesting things about it that I read is that all these people were doing that. They were talking. And then that's the part of what they're trying to develop, is not just have people play music, but to interact with the people watching them, to actually talk to them, which, you know, obviously
intriguing.
This person right here will have no problem doing that. Mm-hmm. So that's right up our alley as a band. But I found it interesting that he was insistent that we talk to him, because there's, at least when I saw, there were no bands on there, and it was just solo people. And I'm curious to know how it works too.
Always.
Yeah, but it's all right. It's all right.
Yeah, but anyway.
All to be answered in time.
Yeah.
Grasshopper.
And apparently everyone has a personal coach. I guess that's why they want us to call. That they talk, it's almost like having an A&R person, you know, trying to coach you through your act or something. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah. But it's another thing to look forward to in the biggest question that we've had over the last few weeks is, when are you playing again? So as it sits right now, July, the first Friday in July has not been cancelled yet in College Station for the first Friday concert series. So that hasn't been...
Is that at that outdoor mall thing or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, yeah.
So that
first Friday. I think I played that one time with West Nixon, which we got rained out, but whatever.
Yeah, it's a great venue. And
it's outdoors?
Yeah, outdoors, and Kevin runs sound and lights, did a tremendous job, and so that's not cancelled. And then the Pirate Festival at the Warehouse Live has not been cancelled, mid-July, and also Wildcatters Saloon has not been cancelled. So there's 4 by my count. And of course, in a couple of days, we're going to be doing our live stream, and we would like to know if anybody wants to hear a particular song.
Yeah, please, if you have requests.
If you have any requests, and Greg, sorry, but you're barred. I had lunch with Greg the other day, and he was like, "Yeah, Bananarama should have been bigger. Do you guys do any of their stuff?" And
Give me a cruel summer.
Yeah. So, I didn't even know. Is that a song?
Oh yeah. That's one of their hits. One of their 2 hits.
I didn't mean to say Bananarama. I meant to say Cyndi Lauper.
Now, I saw Cyndi Lauper in concert, and she put on a hell of a show. She was actually good. She sounds better live than she does in her recordings.
I believe it.
Money changes everything. That's one of her hits.
It is?
Oh. Yeah.
Stop.
Come on, keep up.
No, I refuse to keep up. I like it down
here. Time after time, I mention all these things, and I'm just saying that girls will just want to have fun, but money does change everything. There, those are the 3 hits.
All right.
The one story I know about her is that she didn't write that song. Girls Just Want to Have Fun.
Oh yeah, no, of course not.
That was her first record, and that was one of those classic situations where the record label or the producer says, "No, you're going to cover this song because this is going to be."
Elton John wrote it.
I don't know who wrote it, but she hated the song. It was one of those things. She hated the song when she first heard it, and then she came to really love it later.
Well, yeah, because it
was a huge
hit
hit
for her
fucking
career.
Yeah.
Of course you're going to like that stuff. I do like my house. I do like my car. Because the song about that.
I don't know why we've never mentioned Rod Stewart. Why was Rod Stewart's name never come up? I love Rod Stewart.
I know you do.
You do?
Yes.
You being serious?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that all we're going to say about Rod Stewart?
Yeah. I just never mentioned him. Rod.
We talked about him the other day getting in the van.
I know.
About his drinking problem.
Yeah.
We did?
Yeah. Well, you were
Yeah, I think you were
incapacitated.
You were coming. Yeah. You hadn't got there yet.
To your senses.
Okay.
Let me finish.
Go.
Yeah.
That's a myth, people.
Well,
What?
It's a myth. What?
What's a myth?
I'm gonna save this one for
Yeah.
maybe off camera.
A Rod
Yeah.
Stewart story?
Yeah.
Man, you're racking up too many stories. There was something else you were saving for later that we didn't.
That was I can't
twins.
remember what that was. Something
That
about
was-
something.
Was it-
That was like a twin brother story for one of the
yeah,
people we talked
Gallagher.
about.
Oh, Gallagher.
Gallagher's twin
All right,
brother,
okay,
yeah.
so here's the short story about Gallagher. He has a twin brother.
I did not know that.
I don't know. I'm not sure what his name is, but apparently for a while his twin brother was going out touring as Gallagher, dressing the same, looking the same, doing the exact same gags, until the point where the real Gallagher said, "Okay, you can do this, but we have to have some kind of agreement about this." So apparently, at one point in time, there were two Gallaghers touring the country as Gallagher, like a little franchise, like a mini
That's
two-person
crazy.
franchise.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Wonder if one of them was funnier than the other.
I think
Maybe
they were
just a little
doing,
bit?
I think they were just doing the same bits.
Well, if one is not funny at all, then one must be funnier.
Or
Right.
less funny.
Yeah.
It can go either way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, that would make the other one funnier if the other one's less funny.
But why? He's terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't get
I
it.
didn't even know who it was until I don't even know the show. I should keep my mouth shut.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can Google Gallagher and the story.
you can't.
I mean, you can. If
No.
you can spell it correctly.
He was bigger in the 80s.
Definitely
And
bigger in the
maybe
80s.
Maybe not so big overseas.
Kind of that
actually.
prop comic
Yeah, in
nonsense.
America,
Even like,
yeah.
I think Carrot Top.
I think he was on-
ran away with it.
I think I probably know who he was because he would show up on
Yeah.
MTV occasionally
Yeah.
and daytime talk shows and
They
stuff
give
like that.
plastic sheets to the front 3 rows because you're going to get hit with broken watermelon.
Yeah,
It's
so dumb.
stupid.
Yeah.
Well, I think we should go break some watermelons. I think we should let our fine
It's
friends.
almost watermelon season. It's almost time. About mid-June or so, watermelons come
Yeah.
in Texas, Central Texas. Luling watermelon thump. Anybody? Yeah. Rod Stewart knows.
Yes, he does. He just likes the seeds. He doesn't care for the
He likes the seed.
All right, boys and girls.
we gotta cut the camera.
Yeah, we're gonna.
I'm dying to tell Chad about this story.
Yeah.
This is from like the 70s, though, right? That story, or early 80s.
The myth was born whenever it was born, but it's carried throughout. It's like the Richard Gere thing. It's just there's no beginning and no end to it. It will, but it's it's that's how it is. But we are glad you're listening. We're glad you're here.
I just think it's appropriate that the only time I saw Rod Stewart, the entire stage was white.
They painted it.
White monitors, white microphone stand, white drums, white guitars. Everything was white. Maybe he's just carrying that myth a little bit further.
Oh.
When was that?
89,
Oh, wow.
90. Me and my sister went to Old Orchard Beach, Maine to go see him play.
Okay.
Good show. It was fun, entertaining, you know. She was a big Rod Stewart fan, and so I said, I'll go with you. What the hell? Rod's fine. Carmine wasn't playing drums, though. Kind of disappointing.
Yeah.
But Phil Chen was on bass.
Who?
Phil Chen.
Phil Chen? Who played on Do You Think I'm Sexy?
Co-written by Carmine Apiece. That is Phil Chen on bass, and that's
It is
Carmine on
Phil Chen,
drums.
okay,
And
yeah.
it's whatever that late 70s band was.
Because I was saying that's the first thing I think of when I think of him is that band on that song.
They got it. They
That
nailed
groove
it.
is so cool.
Yeah.
The bass line is so cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm still trying to end the show. So you guys go have fun with Rod.
Come again.
Yes, and again. So, we, thanks for listening, and
that's funny.
everybody be safe, and we hope to see you very, very soon.
Yes. And tune in this Saturday,
Live broadcast.
Yeah.
Request a song.
June 13th.
Say no to drugs.
Yes.
And then forget what we said.
Yeah.
Facebook/Blaggards/live. All right. Thanks, y'all. See you next week.
Cheers.
Bye.